$2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy, Tuesday now, January the 3rd, 2023. Happy New Year. And we've got plenty of conference action going on here tonight in college basketball. Three main games here we're going to break down on the show for you, see if we can't find a couple of best bets along the way. And we'll start off the new year here on a college basketball tip-off show with three of the most profitable here at WagerTalk.com as we welcome back in the pen, Ralph Michaels in the house, Double R, 1L, Steve Merrill also here, as well as Mr. Dave Koken, guys, as we look to start 2023 off on a profitable note. And a couple of things that we can do to help you with that, of course, is give you the opportunity to sign on with any one of these gentlemen, or any handicapper for that matter, at WagerTalk.com here. Great way to start off the year here, Ralph, with a pretty darn good promotion. Happy New Year. What's going on, man?
Happy New Year to you, to all our viewers, and to Steve and Dave as well. We have a site-wide special at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. No coupon needed. These are loaded on everyone's pages. If you are interested in a all-access, all-sport pass for 30 days, 90 days, or a full year, you will get an additional 23% free days. So that means if you buy a 30-day all-access pass, you'll get 7 free days. That's a $99 value. A 90-day free pass gets you 22 free days. And if you want to buy a full year, 365 days, you will get an additional 84 days. That basically is giving you this year plus next January, February, and March for free. Take advantage.
Great opportunity here, guys, to start off 2023. And Steve Merrill, off to the races here, my friend, tonight. What is NBA? Is it college hoops? What do you got going for us over at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, Joe, I have not lost a college football, college basketball, or NBA play in the month. This year. I messed it up. Damn it.
I knew where you were
year
trying.
I have not missed a basketball play, and I screwed it up. I got thinking too deep about all this stuff going on. You know it's bad when you're disappointed to have a 5-0 night, and that's what we had yesterday, actually day and night combined, because I think I very well might have been 6-0. We had the over in the Bills game. In-game total was 56 when everything's froze. So looking like a 6-0 night, but I'll take the 5-0 sweep. Huge Monday, January 2nd. We're going to have another big Tuesday here. Just one game tonight, but it's a strong one, a steamroller blowout in college basketball. Not one of the games we're talking about on the show here today. So get that as a single play, or better yet, do what Ralph said, save big. You know, money saved is money earned. In this case, it's money won. Save several $100s with those direct subscriptions right now. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, great opportunity to get on board here, guys. Start off the new year right. And Dave, final tally in 2022, 101 net units for you. That puts you a positive 359 net units over the last 5 years. Number one here at WagerTalk.com. And I believe you've got a upset special going on your page at WagerTalk in college hoops tonight.
Yeah, 2 games tonight, one of which I'll give out as the free play here, and the other one you can buy at the site. To explain the 101 net units, what does that mean? It means whatever your starting bankroll was, if you just bet everything I gave out exactly as I gave it out last year, you doubled your bankroll. And that puts you on hallowed ground as far as sports betting is concerned. And that's what you get with me. You get exactly what I'm playing every day. Same levels. There's not many bells and whistles. I don't have a lot of big plays. I just grind it out. But I do it, well, I do it pretty well, I guess. So if you're looking for a long-term package, rather than, look, if you're looking at daily big plays, go to somebody else. You're not going to get it from me. If you're looking for a grind that results in you having a nice profit, sign up for a long-term package and get some extra stuff free.
And notifications instantaneously, guys. You never got to worry about what it is or wonder what it is that they'll be playing. Those 30, 90, and full-year packages giving you all sorts of extra opportunities to partner up with these guys. Available at their pages now at WagerTalk.com. All right, conference action here tonight. Let's dive into the Big 12 here as Kansas taking on Texas Tech. Opened up as -2, now -1. We're seeing 141 for a total. This, too, has creeped up just a little bit here since the opening. Ralph, if you bring up how they came back and beat Oklahoma State in the second half in that last game, I'm muting your ass. Tell me what you think here about Texas Tech's opportunity taking on Kansas, but at home here for Tech.
Joe, it was incredible. At halftime, they were down. And then the first 10 minutes of the third quarter, they outscored them 22-5 to get back in the game. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give you reasons why I'm not playing both sides. And that's just as important as why you're playing a side. So let's go to the Kansas side. You look at Kansas. They played a neutral game against Duke, they win. They play a neutral game against Tennessee, they lose. And they have one road game, that was at Missouri, and they win that. They played a very tough schedule, a top 20 schedule, so 12-1 is a legitimate top 10 team. And remember, Self wasn't with them the first few games. You also have to remember for Kansas, you have transfer Kevin McCullough. McCullough had played 78 games at Texas Tech, and he started 49 games over the last 3 years. So he knows his teammates very, very well in edge for Kansas. But I can't get to the Texas Tech side for this reason. You're off a loss at TCU. That was your first true road game. But you've played the number 338th schedule, one of the weakest schedules in all of college basketball. You've played two teams in the top 150. You lost to Ohio State by 7, and you just lost to TCU. Yes, their defensive rankings are good, as they were under their previous coach, but they've played two offenses in the top 158. That was against Ohio. That was against TCU. I lean Texas Tech, but I'll tell you what, there's value to be had with Kansas and just to pick them roll, as I still have them as the better team.
Yeah, I mean, watching that game over the weekend, Steve, against TCU, Tech dominated that game about 3/4 of it anyway. And then in the final 10 minutes, they got absolutely blown out, couldn't buy a bucket. 23-8, in fact, they were outscored in that second half. But we've come to expect that from the likes of Jamie Dixon and TCU. Do they bounce back in this spot? Do you like them as the home team here, maybe learning from that experience in that last game?
Yeah, Joe, I didn't think I'd mention Oklahoma State, but you mentioned TCU. That's a trigger word for me in recent weeks, more football related than anything. God, I made one video this weekend saying that TCU is not one of the 4 best teams in college football. I didn't say they necessarily didn't belong in the playoffs. That's a different discussion. Just said they weren't as good as Alabama, which I still say. I still say they're not as good as Michigan, by the way. Anyway, that's the college football show. We won't go there, but you triggered me when you said Horned Frogs. So,
sorry.
I got to refocus here. What's interesting is you look at this game a couple years ago, you would have thought Kansas, fastest team in the country, Texas Tech, half court, slow it down like Virginia, right? It'd be such a great matchup, but that's not the case anymore. In fact, Kansas is like 142 in pace. Texas Tech is 150. It's not the same Raiders style of play anymore. So I don't think Texas Tech is as live of a home dog as we might have thought in years past, but they are 8-0 straight up still at home this year. Keep in mind, it's still winter break at most campuses. So I do think home courts are a little bit weaker here in early January than they'll be later in the conference season. And Kansas, like Ralph says, a team I'm not really looking to get in front of right now. I think they're a little bit undervalued heading into conference play. And the fact they haven't covered the last 2 games against the spread, despite winning both of them as double-digit favorites, I think made this line a little bit cheaper than it would be. With that said, though, to open 2.5, it's now down to 1 in most locations, and we have seen the total rise a bit from 139.5 up to 141. I think the over maybe is worth a look. These are 2 teams that are playing at a decent tempo this year. And Kansas shoots 48%. Texas Tech shoots 50%, 80 points per game. Like I said, it's not your grandmother's slow-down half-court Texas Tech team anymore, and I think the over is worth a look.
Yeah, it feels like a different squad for Mark Adams this year, Dave, at Tech. Always been defensive-minded, but they're pretty darn efficient offensively here. Do you like them in a dog roll at home against Kansas?
No, not especially. I don't like the favorite either. I think the line's nailed in this game, both side and total. Kansas needs to get to the foul line more. They're not doing a good job as far as that goes. That should correct itself in conference play. Texas Tech is, it's just eye test stuff. I just don't think they're as good as they've been. And the obvious drop-off is on the defensive side. I don't know who's going to win the game, and I'm not going to give an opinion on it.
Well, if they turn it over 23 times like they did against TCU, it ain't going to be them winning this game. I can tell you that. But we do have another interesting game coming up here today. And again, all conference games here across the board, guys, which makes it real interesting. Let's take a look here at Marquette taking on St. John's here. A little Big East action. 158 is the total. Marquette laying 2.5. Shaka Smart and the boys there are a road favorite here, Dave. And St. John's seems like they're heading in the wrong direction. What do you think?
No, they'll be all right. The key is if you can force St. John's to shoot 3 wells, you got them. Because they just don't shoot the 3 well at all. I don't know that Marquette's going to be able to do that. Their defense isn't configured that way. And I think St. John's can get some drives to the hoop and not get their liability exposed here. So I think it's a good matchup for the home team. And that, with that being the case, I would lean to St. John's to get the win in this game.
Carnesecca, Ralph, is I'm guessing this is ad here. So what do you think about St. John's opportunity to hold serve here, home court, and get back in the win column?
Well, I will preface it by saying this is my best bet on the show, and I did use Marquette for my clients. So I am definitely on the Marquette side. You know, both play very similar. St. John's, the number 1 team as far as pace is concerned when they have the ball. Marquette, number 16. Shaka Smart wants to play fast. Both defenses do a good job slowing their opponents. So you look at turnover margins. You look at turnovers for St. John's, they're a number 115 on offense, 98 on defense. Marquette's number 19 on offense, 47 on defense. They do a much better job. You know, you have a guard in Marquette that you have Kolick and Mitchell, and I think they can clearly slow down Alexander, Posh Alexander for St. John's. You look at body of work. St. John's hasn't beaten a team in the top 89. They've played 4 teams better than that. They've lost to all of them: Iowa State, Villanova, Xavier, and Seton Hall. Marquette off that win against Villanova. They beat Seton Hall previously. And just let's go to KenPom. Both teams are 11-4. Marquette is 11-4 against the number 32 schedule. St. John's is 11-4 against the number 215 schedule. Marquette wins the game.
Ralph, liking Marquette here. What do you think, Merrill? Is it a total game for you, or do you not trust enough offense coming from St. John's to get there?
Well, one other thing that's interesting about Marquette as far as the side goes, if you look at those KenPom rankings, 330th in luck out of 363 teams. And, you know, we talk once again, luck doesn't really factor into the point spread. It's about straight up wins. But here again, it's a 1-basket spread, 2.5. So Marquette could be a little bit underrated, like Ralph said in this game. But as far as the total, Joe, first of all, when St. John's is playing, I automatically start looking for reasons at the over. 5th fastest tempo overall, as Ralph said, number 1 when they have the ball. So they like to play fast. And it's always over or pass for me. in St. John's games. And I think the over will work in this one, as Marquette also one of the top 80 tempo teams in the country. And they were held in check against Villanova in the last game, 68-66 win. It went well under the 144 total. But once again, Villanova does not play like St. John's. Villanova plays at the 343rd slowest tempo. St. John's plays at the 5th fastest tempo. So I think this is like a cage animal. Marquette will be looking to run tonight, and St. John's will be happy to oblige. And this total has been jumping around. In fact, the line's been jumping around too. Marquette opened 2.5, went down to 2 a couple hours ago. Now it's back to 2.5. We saw this total dip up and down as well. 156.5 is the opener, but now it's a solid 158, even some 158.5s out there. So I think over 158 makes some sense.
Going up and over. Shaka Smart's teams in the past, fantastic as an underdog. Yeesh. Not so much as a favorite here, but they are a favorite tonight on the road against St. John's. We do have one other game here tonight, which I also find very intriguing here in the ACC, is Virginia's traveling to Pitt to take on the Pitt Panthers. 127, but Pitt finds themselves as a 6-point home dog here, Dave. A lot of people have Pitt rising in their power ratings. How about you?
Yeah, they're playing okay. Nice win over North Carolina. Not a great matchup for them here, though, because the way to beat Virginia is you got to shoot the 3 ball, and I'm not sure Pittsburgh is going to be able to do that. If they can have a good night on the threes, they got a real shot. But this is, look, my analysis is pretty simple as a rule. I'm going to try and find a strength versus weakness. The liability for Virginia is giving up quality threes. I don't think Pittsburgh runs the offense to exploit that. So I don't think it's a wipeout, but I would side with Virginia at 6. I think they can win the game by more than that.
Yeah, they can shoot the 3 for sure there, Steve Merrill. This Virginia Cavaliers team, 6, a couple of possessions here. Is it worth laying in your mind? Do you think Pitt's got some value?
I don't know about this game, but I do think they have some value overall. I mean, 10-4 season, 7-1 in home games, and as Dave said, the nice win against North Carolina. In fact, back-to-back straight-up dog wins against Syracuse and North Carolina. And don't look now, but Pitt has now covered, I believe, 9 straight games. They've gone 8-1 straight up, 9-0 against the spread the last 9. So definitely not in a hurry to get in front of that speeding bullet. And I don't want to say Virginia's a falling knife, but from a point spread perspective, they're 1-7 ATS their last 8. So you've got a 9-0 spread team against a 1-7 spread team getting 3 baskets at home. So I think you got to be a little careful. And I do think Virginia wins this game tonight, but I'm going to look at the total instead. Since I do think Virginia probably wins it, I'd rather play the total under because, as always, one of the slowest teams in the nation, one of the 2 or 3 slowest teams every year, it seems, once again this year, and also a great half-court defensive team. But I think Pitt will be okay in that setting as well, as they're a pretty good defensive team as well, allowing just 39.5% shooting at home this season. And the one lower scoring game that they played recently, at least a lower totaled game, the only one that's been under the 130 range, was back in late November on the road at Northwestern. They were a 7-point dog. The total was 128.5, and they won the game outright by 29 points. So I think they'll be comfortable in the half-court set, and I look for this one to stay under 126.5 tonight.
So, Ralph, is it a matter of, Virginia had a little blip on the radar there last month. Pitt didn't. Are we selling high on Pitt now and back in Virginia, or you think Pitt's got a chance of staying within it, maybe even winning this game outright at home?
Well, I think Pitt has a shot, but I can't get to that side because Virginia is on sale. You know, you look at Ken Palm's numbers. A couple of weeks ago, in the end of November, Pitt was like the number 125th team. They're 70 now in Ken Palm ratings. This line would have probably been 12 if this game were around Thanksgiving. And you look at Virginia's losses. They lost to Houston, and I think that loss at home to Houston cost them 2 losses because they played Miami of Florida a few days later on the road, and they lost that game by 2. You got to remember this with Pitt, as well as they're playing. Last year's leading scorer, John Hewley, has missed the last few games. He's only started 6 games this year. They're going to be a much deeper and better team when he gets involved. Lane Kinson leading the way for Pittsburgh, the Iowa State transfer, who missed a couple of years with injuries. But, boy, He's scoring 17 points a game, rebounding 7 points per game. So I think Pitt is a team that will continue to rise. I look for him to play well against Clemson, Georgia Tech, Louisville, and Florida State after this game, especially if Hewley's back. But I can't get to the Pittsburgh side because, again, just a few weeks ago, this line might have been 10 or 12 with Virginia laying the number. So if you're a Virginia fan, you're getting one of the cheapest numbers possible.
All right, good stuff there, guys. Should be a good one. Virginia taking on Pitt. Ton of games here. 21, I believe, in all D1 conference games here tonight. Love this time of year, and now it is time to figure out if there's a game these guys like a little bit more than the rest on the card. And Dave, I'll start with you. You mentioned you got a dog going on, a little underdog available at your page tonight on the card. But you also mentioned you got another play that you liked a little. You're going to give out here for a best bet.
Well, more than a little because it's a play. This is a 3% selection. I posted this as a free play on my page, and I'll give it out here. Not one of the marquee matchups, to be sure. Miami of Ohio at Central Michigan. But it's a good spot play. You've got Central Michigan off a big upset. They beat Michigan last time out. And in looking at the shot quality data on that game, it was a fluke. The expectation, based on the way the game played, was Central Michigan losing by 15. They won the game outright. So that was a bizarre result. And now they were in a potential flat spot coming out of that game. In terms of the matchup itself, in the categories I like to look at the most, Miami of Ohio comes out as a slightly better team than Central Michigan. Add in the situational stuff, it's a short line. Miami's probably going to have to win the game to get the cover, but I think they will. Miami of Ohio plus the 2 or 2.5, and that is the best bet here in the show, and it is a 3% client play as well.
All right, good stuff there, guys. Don't forget, you can visit Dave's page. Take advantage of that special right now. 30-day all-access packages, 90-day all-access packages, and in a full-year all-access package. And you get all sorts of value on top of that, added value for longer periods of time to get the all-access play. So take advantage now. And Ralph, talk to us here. Number one, tell us what you got going on here tonight at Wager Talk, and let us know what your best bet. I think you alluded to it earlier here with Marquette.
I have one NHL and one NBA package up in a 2-for-1. The college basketball play in there is 3-for-1. I'm going to give you that. As I said, I am Al Marquette. Look at their 4 losses. These are Ken Palm ratings. Number 8 Purdue, they covered. Against Mississippi State, they pushed. And then the 2 overtime losses, Steve alluded to their luck factor. They lost to Wisconsin and at Providence. So St. John's best win of the year against number 82 Nebraska at home. I'm going to throw in a bonus, Joe. You told me I couldn't talk about Oklahoma State's failed halftime lead. But how about this? In the Big 12, this system applies to all teams. If you were trailing by 10 points or more at halftime, and you came back and won the game in overtime, so you had a huge second half. Now, Kansas didn't go into overtime, but Kansas State did. Those teams in the next game have only covered 32.8% since 2010. That applies to Kansas State tonight. So teams that trailed at halftime by 10 or more, won the game in overtime at home, in their next game, it doesn't matter if it's at home or on the road, have only covered 32.8%. Just some bonus TNA for the show today.
K-State, a big one against UT here tonight. So interesting stuff there, Ralph. Merrill, 2Rs, 1L. Talk to us here. Which game did you circle for a best bet on the show?
Yeah, going to look at a free best bet for the show here. A free play in the MAC tonight on Tuesday. MAC Attack Tuesday night. And we were red hot last night and yesterday on Monday. 5-0 sweep. The NFL game was winning as well when it got suspended. So very close to a 6-0 sweep. But we'll take the 5-0 sweep on Monday, carry the momentum into Tuesday night. I've got a powerful college basketball steamroller best bet for Tuesday night on my page right now. And don't forget, if you want to get that best bet tonight, that's fine. But the way you save and win big is a direct subscription. And now is the time to get it. You buy 1 month, you get an additional week for free. You buy 3 months, you get 3 more weeks for free. It just goes on and on. It gets better and better. Huge savings right now on direct subscription. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Let's look at a free over-under tonight on Tuesday. I talked about this game earlier Tuesday afternoon on Wager Talk Today, and the total had gone up a few points from the opener. It was sharp money. I like the move. It's gone up a little bit higher since, but there is still value with the over 159 between Ball State and Toledo. Toledo, the best over team in the country this year. They're now 11-1 to the over. So you would think, hey, look, there's no value left, but that's not the case. Their games overall are averaging 164.5 points. Home games are averaging 168.5 points. And this total is still, even with the move, only at 159. It's still not high enough. And the reason being, obviously, Toledo likes to play fast. That's why they're 11-1 over, 16th fastest team in the country out of 363. But Ball State will play fast tonight as well. Their overall tempo is below average, but they played outside the 300's weakest offenses. Their offensive opponents this year, 312th strongest. They've played some terrible teams. Toledo is a huge step up in class. Ball State is not a good defense. They're going to struggle to stop them, but I think Toledo will struggle to stop Ball State as well. And Ball State just played 2 slow-down teams in Georgia Southern and Chicago State, so they'll be anxious to run tonight. Both teams take care of the ball and neither force turnovers, so this has all the makings of a high-scoring shootout. Ball State Toledo over 159 goes at 7 Eastern Tuesday night. And don't forget a 5-0 sweep yesterday on Monday. I've got a strong college basketball steamroller side tonight on Tuesday. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, Steve, great stuff there. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, they too have a play of the day. And of course, we encourage you guys to head over to goldsheet.com. Check out the write-ups they have on games, not to mention a lot of the data and analytics to utilize when making your handicapping decisions. But tonight, their write-up is going to focus on Akron taking on Northern Illinois, and they're pointing out that Akron 7-0 at home this season. Average margin of victory, blowouts. How about that? 19.6 per game, and their defense that Akron is bringing to the court. Number 8 in the country in free throws allowed. They're not fouling an awful lot. They don't give up easy points. When you put it all together, a blowout is anticipated for Akron here tonight at home against Northern Illinois. I'm going to go with what I like to refer to as the insomnia game. If you have insomnia, turn this game on and you will love Tennessee versus Mississippi State because the first one to 60 is going to win this game, guys. And it very much well could be Tennessee, but 2 of the top defenses in the country, Mississippi State, not very good, averaging about 68 points a game, and they've played the 288th ranked non-conference or strength of schedule, rather. So they haven't played anybody, and they still can't score. Don't know how they're going to score here against Tennessee, but they will bring some defense. Don't expect a ton of points. The under, 123.5 tonight. Mississippi State taking on the Vols of Tennessee. And one more time, guys, take a look here as we recap with Ralph going Marquette. He's a believer. He'll lay the 2.5 with Shaka against St. John's. Merrill, he's going with the over. Expect a fun one. Ball State and Toledo up and over the total. Dave looking at Miami of Ohio. He's going to take those 2 points. We're going to look at the under with Mississippi State and Tennessee, while our friends at the Gold Sheet all over Akron to win easily against Northern Illinois. And don't forget, guys, opportunity presenting itself right now for you with those packages up and available on everyone's pages at WagerTalk.com. All you have to do is visit Dave Koken, who still has a best bet tonight, guys, available on his page. Ralph's got his best bets ready to go tonight, as does Steve Merrill. But really, the best way to start the year, go ahead and hop on board with those all-access packages right now. 30 days, you'll get 7 days free for a $99 value. 90 days, you'll get 22 days extra in that package. And, of course, if you buy a full year, you're basically going to get 3 months for free right through March Madness of 2024. So hop on board, guys. Visit all 3 of these gentlemen at WagerTalk.com and partner up. Get those all-access packages here. That's the way to roll. And, of course, we'll be back again tomorrow. More college basketball in store. Great slate of games tonight. More great games tomorrow. Come back and join us. But until then, on behalf of Ralph, Dave, and Steve Merrill, guys, we appreciate the time. Best of luck with all your plays here tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.